Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder today. HIVE Digital Technologies Limited HIVE just filed an amended annual report, and I am seeing some interesting shifts in their executive compensation and outlook. Quick note, this is not financial advice, just my take on public filings for educational purposes. This filing is mostly about adding details they initially skipped, but it gives us a clearer picture of who is running the show and how they're being paid, which is always a key indicator of a company's health. So HIVE Digital Technologies filed an amendment to their annual report, essentially adding in more details about their directors, how their executives are paid, who owns what, and some other important information that they initially left out. Think of it as HIVE delivering the rest of the homework they were supposed to turn in earlier. They filed their original report back in June of 2026, and this amendment, filed in July 2026, fills in the blanks in part 3 of the report. Let's talk about the people in charge. This amendment lays out who the directors and executive officers are. We have Frank E. Holmes as executive chairman, who has been involved with the company since 2017 and took on an executive role in 2022. Then there is Aiden Killick, the president and CEO, who joined HIVE in 2021 and became president and CEO in early 2023. Darcy Dalboroughs is the chief financial officer, a role he has held since 2018. Gabriel Ibg is the general counsel, who joined in 2021. And Johanna Thornblad is the country president for HIVE Sweden, also joining in 2021. We also see independent directors like Susan B. McGee, Marcus New, and Dave Perrell, who are critical for providing oversight. Now, it is important to note that some of these executives have had their fair share of regulatory attention. For example, both Frank Holmes and Marcus New were directors during periods when HIVE faced management cease trade orders back in 2019, 2021, and 2022 due to late financial filings. Dave Perrell was also a director during the 2021 and 2022 orders. Additionally, Dave Perrell was the CEO of Compute North LLC, a company that filed for bankruptcy protection in 2022. While these historical events don't necessarily reflect on current operations, they do paint a picture of a company that has navigated some choppy waters. The board has several committees to oversee different aspects of the company. The Audit Committee, with directors Marcus New and Dave Perrell, and Miss McGee is responsible for the integrity of financial statements and internal controls. Marcus New is specifically noted as an Audit Committee financial expert. The Compensation Committee, chaired by Dave Perrell, with Miss McGee and Mr. New, handles executive and director compensation, and the Corporate Governance Committee, chaired by Miss McGee, with Mr. New and Mr. Perrell, focuses on the company's governance principles and director nominations. Having independent directors on these key committees is generally a good sign for good governance. HIVE also has a code of business conduct and ethics that applies to all directors, officers, and employees. It sets out their values and expected standards of behavior, covering things like fair dealing and compliance with laws. They also have an insider trading policy to prevent misuse of confidential information. Now, let's dive into executive compensation, which is a big part of this amendment. HIVE's compensation philosophy is pretty standard: attract and retain top talent, align executive interests with shareholder value, and reward performance. Their pay structure includes base salary, bonuses, and long-term incentives like stock options and restricted share units, or RSUs. Looking at the base salaries for the fiscal year ended the 31st of March 2026, we see some interesting details. Frank Holmes, the executive chairman, has a base salary of nil. This is not uncommon for a chairman who might be compensated more through equity or other means. Aiden Killick, the CEO, earned a base compensation of about $273,000. Darcy Dalboroughs, the CFO, had a base salary of around $225,000. Gabriel Ibg, the general counsel, earned about $186,000. Johanna Thornblad, the country president for Sweden, had a base salary of approximately $168,000. Remember, these figures are in US dollars as converted from Canadian dollars or euros. The company does offer cash bonuses, which are based on both individual and corporate performance. These are decided by the CEO in collaboration with the executive chairman, ensuring that no executive makes a decision about their own bonus. Long-term incentives are a crucial piece of the puzzle for HIVE. They use stock options and RSUs to align executive and shareholder interests and to encourage executives to stay with the company. The Compensation Committee considers various factors when deciding on these grants, including the NEOS experience, responsibilities, and past performance. Digging into the specifics of employment and consulting agreements, Aiden Killick is paid through a consulting agreement with a company he controls, Unimage Enterprises Limited, at a monthly fee that was increased to about $33,333 CAD in July 2025. Darcy Dobraz has an employment agreement with a current annual salary of CAD $312,000. Gabriel Ibgiji's salaries have also seen increases since he joined, with his current annual salary at CAD $250,000. Johanna Thornblad is paid through a consulting agreement with Known Lab SL, a company she controls, with annual fees of $144,000. This table is where we see the total compensation picture for the named executive officers, or NEOs, for the fiscal years ending the 31st of March 2026, 2025, and 2024. For the year ending the 31st of March 2026, Frank Holmes' total compensation was over $4.6 million, primarily from stock awards valued at over $4.4 million. Darcy Dobraz's total compensation was around $3.2 million with significant stock awards and cash bonuses. Aiden Killick's total compensation for fiscal 2026 was over $5.3 million. Again, driven heavily by stock awards, exceeding $4.4 million and a substantial bonus of nearly $585,000. Gabriel Ibgij's total compensation was about $2.75 million, and Johanna Thornblad's was close to $2.77 million. These numbers show a strong reliance on equity compensation, which is meant to align executive interests with long-term shareholder value. For instance, the stock awards for both Mr. Holmes and Mr. Killick in fiscal 2026 were over $4 million each. This table details the restricted share units, or RSUs, granted to NEOs for the fiscal year ending the 31st of March 2026. Frank Holmes and Aiden Killick each received grants totaling 1.6 million RSUs, with fair values between $596,000 and $2,080,000 for each grant. Darcy Dobraz received grants totaling 900,000 RSUs, while Gabriel Ibg and Johanna Thornblad each received 800,000 RSUs. The fair value of these awards is tied directly to the company's stock price, emphasizing that executive income is closely linked to company performance. As of the 31st of March 2026, the NEOs held a significant number of outstanding equity awards. Frank Holmes had options to acquire 500,000 shares and unvested RS valued at over $3.3 million. Darcy Dobraz had unvested RS valued at over $1.8 million. Aiden Killick had unvested RS valued at over $3.3 million. And Gabriel Ibgi and Johanna Thornblad each had unvested RS valued at over $1.6 million. This indicates